So it's been a while since I've made a video, and that reason is because I've been dealing with a dark night of my soul. And so I haven't really been motivated to do a whole lot of anything. I wanted to make a video after I had attended the Dr. Joe Dispenza week-long in Nashville because that was an incredible experience. But it was right after I had attended that event that I really started dealing with this dark night of my soul. At the time, I guess you could say, wasn't quite sure that's what was going on. You kind of know you're going through it, but at the same time you don't. And I wanted to make this video for those of you that have been through it, are going through it, or if you eventually kind of go through it, then you can be like, oh, I remember watching that video, whatever. I didn't look up information about dealing with the dark night of the soul because I think consuming yourself in that is kind of overwhelming. I did after the fact, and there's a lot of people that have the different stages of going through the dark night of the soul, and everyone had different stages, and I didn't agree with some of them, and I believe that it's not really linear, and you kind of go through the phases on your own, and everybody's dark night of the soul is going to be very different, and so you can't really relate your experience to somebody else's and what you go through and how you deal with it. I'm just creating this video so you can kind of understand what I've gone through, and maybe that can help you a little bit understand it. So I have gone through this a little bit before. I made a previous video about spiritual awakening, and you can say that deals with a little bit about dealing with the dark night of the soul. Then I also made one just about like dealing with the death of your old self kind of thing, and I'm talking about the finding of the gold and silver and things. So you could also watch those videos. Those kind of pertain to what I'm talking about in this video. So where to start? So you could kind of say that the dark night of the soul, you've heard going through the river of change, spiritual awakening, they're all a little bit the same. The spiritual awakening kind of, I guess, could be the big first part of the process, in that you kind of had the veil lifted and some beliefs have been kind of tested, but you're almost excited about the spiritual awakening. The dark night of the soul is when you start coming up against your ego. That is the big thing about dealing with the dark night of the soul, is your ego is fighting you. Your ego is literally dying and becoming something new. And so I went through something similar to this about 6-8 months ago, and I just kind of saw it as the river of change. And I had very similar feelings that I did this time. And this time, though, it was a lot deeper, I guess you could say. So let me explain kind of what I went through so you can kind of understand that. So in Nashville, I had a great experience there. The week kind of just built up and it just kept elevating. I even got to go up on stage, give my testimony. And then after that, even like we got to go meet William Henry, and like all these things were just like great and wonderful. And some people could say, oh, you just kind of crashed when you got home. But when I get home, I've been to enough of these Dr. Joe Dispenza events now to know if it's a crash from all of the energy, or it's a crash, but it's also could be, I can also be uplifted. This was different. There is kind of a depression feeling, and that is something because you are letting go of what you are familiar with, and you don't know what's coming, and everything that you know is being peeled away and pulled away. I've spent my entire life programming myself to be a certain way, think a certain way, feel a certain way, even like the way I react to situations. And I guess you could say all at once this was being pulled away from me. And I was lost. I just felt, I can't even describe the emotions that I was feeling. They definitely weren't positive emotions. They were all low, negative emotions. I don't even know if I would say they were negative emotions because they were emotionless. It was like this emptiness feeling, loneliness, hopelessness. A big thing too was just trying to find my purpose. You know, I kept hearing more and more about your purpose in life, your purpose in life. And I've never gone through my life like feeling like I needed a purpose in my life, like I have to do this in my life. I've always just, I guess you could say I've been more present, not really as present as I should be, but I haven't been like, okay, this is my goal, this is my goal, this is my goal. But I felt like there was some purpose I should be doing, but I didn't know. And I just kind of, I don't even know how to describe it. Life, I guess you could almost say my life felt meaningless. And it's hard because you're really going through this alone. You're dealing with yourself. So some people say get support from others, which if that's for you, great. But I've talked to a couple of people who recently went through similar experiences with the dark night of their soul. And you really can't get support from others. I guess unless they're at a higher elevated level than you, maybe they can support you and they've been through it, but good luck finding somebody that's there. But if you try to get support from friends and family, they're going to give you advice that you don't want to hear. They don't know what you're going through. And in fact, my husband was helping me, and I was almost getting angry and irritable with him, because it's just like anything he said was just like, no, you don't understand. This is really a dealing with yourself. You are really dealing with yourself when you go through this. You've been maybe it's because you've been avoiding dealing with yourself your whole life, and you get to this point where you need to deal with yourself. And it's a challenge. And I don't know how I got through it. You could say I had support, but at the same time, I don't feel I did, because I pushed it away, any support. And some friends that I talked to too, same thing. They didn't want to socialize, didn't want to go to work, didn't call friends, family. They just, it's like you just know that this is you up against yourself, and you need to deal with this on your own. And so that's what I was doing. Something that I guess I could give you advice and tips on how to kind of get through it. Your body is going to get tired. I felt tired a lot. So it can be easily mistaken for depression, because I've experienced that before, which who knows, when I was a teenager, maybe I was going through something similar and didn't even know it. But your body's tired, your appetite may be up and down. You may want to withdraw from other people, social situations. Your emotions are probably going to be all over the place. And just help people around you understand that, I'm just dealing with something. Just, I got this. Just leave me alone. I'm sorry if I am irritable, whatever. Drink lots of water, eat healthy, just kind of help balance your body. But something that was really big for me is I kind of got to a point where it's like getting into the 5D world was better than being here in the 3D world. And we need to have a good balance between both worlds. And not wanting to be here in the 3D world was hard. And if I meditated deeply, that made it even harder. And so I didn't want to give up meditation completely, because I want to make sure I'm doing it every day. I don't want to break that habit. And so I didn't want to do any meditations that really brought me deep into thought, into the void, trying to access things, activate my pineal gland. I didn't want to do all that. But what I did is I focused. I've got an app called Aura, and they've got some pretty decent meditations on there. And I kind of focused on a lot of uplifting ones, heartfelt ones, just things, because I knew I was in this down mood and I needed something to lift me up. And I just felt that opening my heart would help. Did a little heart math. But I didn't focus a lot of my attention on meditation. I maybe spent 15 to 30 minutes a day meditating, because I wanted to kind of separate myself and try to, I guess, ground myself here in 3D. And so I thought that just by trying to lift up my spirits, but yet be present here, is what was going to help me get through this. And I think that really helped me a lot. Now, sometimes people say dealing with the dark night of the soul is kind of like going through the river, and you're in the middle of the river, and I'm like, I've been there in the river. And it's like, I know it's on the other side, and I want to get there. But this time, it was like I was going through the river. And I didn't know I was on the other side. I kind of felt hopeless. I'm like, I don't know what's over there. I don't care. I was just kind of, ugh, you know? This is where I was really dealing more with my ego. And I kind of got this thought in my head, what could be downstream? You know, do I have to go to the other side of the river? What if I just let go and surrender and see where it takes me? And I don't know, I can't tell you what I did, but somehow I feel like I surrendered to like, okay, this is something I need to go through. Let's see where it brings me. And I felt like it was just like, it brought me downstream, and then it was like, it was almost like things kind of cleared a little bit, and I started seeing a little bit of a clearer path. So this went on for about a month, and then the Dr. Joe Dispenza advanced follow-up was coming up in Denver, and the day before I was just like, I want to go. I felt like I was kind of coming up out of this, but I was like, still like, no, I'm not feeling it. And I was too worried that getting deep into all these meditations was going to kind of bring me back down. But I went, and I am so glad I did, because I think it helped give me that last little boost up that I needed. Just being around all these people, these like-minded people, really helped to elevate me and lift my spirits. And I remember from a previous one that I had gone to that it felt like it was very focused on the heart, and it wasn't so manifesting, tune into the universe kind of stuff. And so I haven't been able to open my heart for a while. In Nashville, it was like, but day one, it was like, oh my goodness, this is where you've been. Something, I don't know if it was being around people or what, but it just opened up, and it was like, there you are, something was blocked, something was hiding. And so it was so wonderful. And I can't even describe to you how I've come out of this, why I went through it. I ran into a friend there, and she had been dealing with something similar. I could almost say hers was a lot worse. And we sat there and cried together. She said while she was going through it, she was thinking of me, and she's like, I don't know how you do this with your 5 kids. And I was like, I have no idea how you went through what you went through. And we both were like, we're given what we can handle. And so if you go through something like this, just know that you are given what you can handle. You may think it's too much, but the universe knows that you can get through this, and this is what you need at this point in time. What was really cool about going to that event is that a week before, I had kind of been seeing signs, I guess you could say, synchronicities of a phoenix. And I kind of knew about Phoenix a little bit, but I kept getting the signs, so I looked into it more. Didn't realize what it was. But the Phoenix basically dies. It burns up into flames. And then it rises as gold. And I thought that's so perfect with what I'm going through right now. I feel like I'm being burned up. And then on the other side, I'm going to rise as gold. I mean, you can use that metaphor as the butterfly. You know, the caterpillar. I feel like we're all just caterpillars going through our lives. We don't even realize we need to be a butterfly. We're just like, hey, cool, I'm trying to be the best caterpillar I can be. And then all of a sudden we're like, whoa, I could be something more. I could be a butterfly. But then you go through the process of metamorphosis. And in that process, it can be really tough. Just like the finding of the silver and gold, it's got to go through intense heat, intense pressure in order to come out as gold and pure. And we need to do that ourselves. And you're not going to just go through this one time. You're going to probably have several dark nights of the soul. And I've heard this from others. But just know that they're not always going to be so bad. I think it's the first initial one of like, whoa, crap. You know, letting go, that is really difficult to go through. And after that, they're going to be small. And I think they'll be easier because you're going to know that, hey, I know what's going on and I know what's on the other side. I know something wonderful is coming out of this. I wouldn't say I'm 100% out of it. I'd say I'm 90% there. But it's hard to explain. But, you know, if you're like me, there's been times where you kind of like, you're becoming a new you, a new version of you. And you look at your house and your clothes and your car and your job and you're like, this is the old me, I want to get rid of that. And you want to move, you want a new wardrobe, you want a new job. And I was kind of getting to that point. I'm like, maybe if I just move, it'll get me away from my old self and not remind me of it. But I think I really just needed to deal with myself here. This is all just an illusion. It doesn't matter that I'm here in the same house. Because when I got back from Denver, I didn't feel that way about my house. I felt different. Like the world looked different. So I knew something had happened. And I was looking through different eyes. But I was totally content now with my same clothes, my same bed, my same house. I didn't feel I needed to move somewhere else in order to get a better experience. Because I had upgraded what's inside here, that all this out here didn't matter. That was a huge realization for me. Because I think we feel like we're running away from our lives. But meditation is knowing thyself. And the dark night of the soul is truly knowing ourselves. And I can't tell you there was a true battle within like, oh, I'm remembering old crap. Oh, I'm remembering this. Like I said, I can't really describe what it is. I was trying to keep myself distracted because I didn't want to deal with the way I was feeling. You know, I was trying to read books and watch movies and other things. And I just felt bored with everything that I was doing because the universe was saying, stop. You need to deal with this. And I can't give you advice on how to deal with it, and just know that it's going to kind of work itself out, I guess. You know, like a fire is going to have to burn, and like you can talk about the phoenix, it eventually has to burn all up. You can't just stop it right in the middle and the bird's halfway burnt. And like, okay, I'm here. The whole thing has to go. And it may be quick, it may be slow. I don't know. There is a book, though, I'm going to suggest that I read, Consciousness Rising. And I got this when I kind of knew that I was going through something. And this really helped a lot. Funny thing is, I did a meditation one day, and I'm like, wait, I recognize that name, and Nikki Sutton. And I had randomly chosen some meditations by her online, and they helped me so wonderfully. This is another one I actually read. I didn't read the whole thing, called The Spiritual Awakening Process. And this one, it's got some different steps and things in there, but you know, if it helps you to deal with things, this one really helped me a lot to kind of almost let me know I'm not alone kind of thing. It didn't really give you a step-by-step, this is what you're going through, this is what you need to do. It just gave a lot. It was almost like talking to a friend and them understanding me, and it helped me understand a little bit better what I was going through. I do have to say, though, something's different. And, you know, I haven't found my purpose. I kind of feel like I was shown a little something recently in a meditation. I was kind of scared of it, but I was embracing of it. I don't know that I feel I need a specific path. This is my path. This is my purpose. I need to be a doctor. I need to be a healer, whatever it is that some of you may be searching for your purpose. And I don't know that you're going to have a specific purpose. I think you're just going to be guided. And as long as you feel guided and you feel good about what you're doing, you are serving your purpose. It's almost the way I feel now. If I just keep continuing on where I'm going, along the way, I'm going to come across people. I'm going to come across events or situations. Or, you know, I may find a new career. I don't know what I'm going to come across. But I just know that as those things come along in my life, they're part of the divine purpose of my life. I don't know that you're going to have one thing that says, this is what you will do in your life. This is your purpose. One thing. It's not, I don't think that's what it is. If you feel that's it, then great, then that might be your purpose. But for some reason inside, I just feel that my purpose is just going to unfold in front of me, and I don't have to search for it and look for it and feel the need to strive to attain that. And I think that's kind of got some comfort inside of me now. And I keep looking beyond the camera because I guess I'm trying to be present. I'm looking at this large, beautiful bird in this tree over here, and I'm just like, just observing nature, beautiful day, and I guess I'm being present. I'm sorry, I'm not being present with you. I'm just observing the world, and I'm grateful for it and thankful for it. And 2 weeks ago, I was just like, to all of this. I'm just like, oh, a bird, you know, whatever. And even with my kids, I felt, I was like, there was almost like a disconnect too. Is like, is my purpose just with them? I can't even describe. Like I said, I can't explain it to you. I just know that what I went through was sucky, but I needed to go through it in order to get to where I am now and look at the world through a different lens. And so I don't know the purpose of my video. I hope it helps you in some sort of way, just like this book kind of helped me. It was like a friend who understands, and I just hope that this can help you understand. Even if you don't go through a huge dark night of the soul, I think even just these small little tests in our life, questions, you know, those little things, those are little bits of letting go of our old self, even if they're little baby steps. You know, maybe that's all you can handle right now. Maybe that's all you're ready to handle. Maybe that's all you've asked for the universe to handle. I mean, when you're looking to manifest something, you want to manifest the best version of yourself. You want to manifest perfect health. Well, in order to get those, you do have to kind of let go of your old self. And maybe in a big way. I said this to so many people. I was so fortunate to be healed. Almost everything physically wrong with me right away on my spiritual journey. And people are like, oh my goodness, I want to do that. I want to be that. But now that all the physical is gone with me, this emotional stuff is almost harder. I've been dealing with this physical stuff for over 20 years. And I think the emotional stuff kind of got put on the back burner. And it kept just getting shoved. And the physical stuff was like, hello, here we are. And the emotional stuff got pushed to the side. And now it's like, okay, here's this crap you got to deal with now. And like I said, I can't tell you specifically, oh, I had this happen, and I had this emotion. I don't think you need to get specific with all of it. And I think that's where people get too technical with it. They're trying to be technical and say, well, this happened to me when I was 4, and then when I was 16, this happened, and I'm still holding on. I don't really think that matters. I think as you go through the process and you just want to be a better version of yourself, those things just go away. They may come up and you're like, oh, wow, I didn't realize that. Like, I remember this child picking on me in the playground in 2nd grade, and I think it really affected the way I socialized after that. It came up in a meditation. It was a good realization, but I'm not like meditating on focusing on things like that. And I think that's the key, is you don't focus specifically on that stuff. You just focus on your vision of who you want to be. And like I said, all that'll just melt away and it'll just go away. And I think that's what I was dealing with. I wasn't dealing with anything specific. So I don't know that I have anything else that I can add. I'm sure after this video I'll probably be like, oh shoot, I should have said that. That happened to me when I was up on stage. I was like, dang it, I forgot to say this, and this. So I appreciate you watching, and I love you guys very much. You guys mean a lot to me. I've met so many of you at these events that I go to, and I don't realize how much I touch you guys. You guys don't realize how much you touch me with your comments, with your hugs, and I've made some very good friends just through doing this. And I love you guys very much. And thank you. Thank you so much for watching.